Hello and welcome to Nirmal, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Hiral Daria. We have with us Kunal Shah, Head of Commodities Research, joining in. Kunal, my first question coming to you is with regards to the OPEC Plus meeting. The latest that I read was that it has been postponed until mid of June. What is the clarity on that front?
Yeah, it is very confusing right now because they were supposed to meet during the weekend and they were supposed to come up with the what is going to be the status of the production cuts, whether they are going to extend or not, or whether the compliance of OPEC within the OPEC will be reached or not. So there were lots of ifs and buts which were there in the OPEC meeting, but I think no solution right now which has come. But right now what is going on is a full risk on sentiment in the world. Yesterday ECB launched another package of 600
Hmm.
billion euro.
Euros.
So I think that itself is a very big thing. So right now all risky asset class are rallying, and commodities are the one who are going to get benefit out of all these things imminently. So I see oil again at 29, 40, 50. That are the levels where it can come, but I will not recommend anyone to go positionally long at these levels, because the problem is, if there is a report coming out that the Nigeria or the other members are not meeting the compliance, so
Hmm.
whatever they are supposed to cut, so 9.6 million barrels of production cut, if any of the member is not following to that strict compliance, then we can see some bit of correction which can take place. So for the evening session, you can expect 29.20 to 29.40. Do not positionally go long. Do not try to carry forward. Take a fresh view on Monday on what is happening, what kind of statements are coming during the weekend. So I'll request you to close the position by between 29.20 to 29.40 in the long position. And for the shorts, I'm not recommending right now any strategy.
Right. So overall, do you think that from here on, if we do see a pullback that could come in on crude from, we've already in fact seen $40 to $41 per barrel. Do you think the pull down could come down to as low as say $30 per barrel?
Uh, See, the thing with this is very simple, that if the production cut, whatever the all the OPEC members are saying, so if Saudi Arabia is supposed to cut 2 million barrels, if Iran is supposed to cut half a million barrel, Iraq is supposed to cut 1 million barrel. So if these numbers are not, matching with what they have promised, then we can see some bit of correction. But right now, full risk on sentiment is there in the market. So I don't expect Brent to come down to $30 immediately. Until and unless this sentiment changes, I don't expect oil to immediately crash. But at the same time, I'm expecting that one should be cautious, because already prices have risen from $10 to $34, $35 for the WTI. So WTI maximum, 39, 38, 39 can test, but I'm not expecting anything above that. It's just because there is a risk on sentiment, I'm recommending to go long in crude oil.
Right. And what's the impact are you seeing with regards to where China crude imports is concerned? Because that has rebounded to near a record high already, if you see in the month of May. And with that, I mean, do you see any impact on that front?
Yeah. So like I said, from last 2 months, Chinese PMI numbers are more than positive, above 50. So after 35.8, we have seen Chinese PMI rebounding to 50.8 and 50.5. So it is above 50. That itself shows that the things have stabilized in China, and China is consuming more than 9.5, 9.6 million barrels of crude oil. So that itself is very positive for crude oil, and I think Chinese demand is likely to strengthen going forward also.
Okay. And with regards to, if crude even whenever comes, I mean, lately we've seen that 30 to $40 per barrel mark. How do you think that is going to impact, I mean, US share?
When there was a crisis at that time, you've seen almost production cut of 1.25, 1.3 million barrels per day. So now we expect that number, to stabilize for the time being, because oil prices are up. So in US, most of the shale producers cost of production is at 40 to $41. So right now they are not making losses, they are not making profits also, but this will not encourage them to produce more. So I don't expect I think that US production can drop by another zero point 0.5 to zero point 0.6 million barrels going forward in next 3 months.
Right. So any strategy that you would want to recommend for today?
Yeah, so 28.70, 28.60, one should go long in crude oil. 29.20 should be the target, and stop loss should be placed at 28.20.
Right. And Kunal, anything with regards to gold as well? Because again, today's session, we've seen a sharp fall that did come in with regards to gold prices. Yes, we are taking into consideration the kind of up move that's coming in on the equity markets as well. But where from here on?
I told clearly the gold is not going to move up in the short
Correct.
term. Gold prices are going to remain under pressure. Sell the rallies 46,600, 650 during evening session. Go short in gold, farm on contract. June is
Mm.
obviously going to expire. And you can expect gold to again dip and test levels of 46,250, 46,100. So clear short call coming on gold.
Right. And any strategy in terms of base metals, Kunal?
Looks wonderful. The way these guys are printing money, base metal should be the biggest beneficiary of it. On one hand, we are seeing that a massive amount of contraction in GDP in developed world, which are not the major consumer of base metal, but China is doing well, and so much money coming in. So the intrinsic value of commodity stocks, everything, it just goes up when this kind of money is poured in. So yesterday's liquidity infusion itself is a very positive for metals, and I recommend to go long in copper at around 426, 427 for upside target of 431, 432, and nickel for the same reason should test levels of 975 to 980. Zinc should test levels of 164 to 165. So
Right.
all bullish call for metals.
Right. So Kunal, I mean, if you have to look at crude, gold, and base metals, do you think the bets right now would be with base metals versus
Metals,
GT?
I'm very confident. Yeah, it should go up.
Right. All right, Kunal. In fact, thank you for sharing your view. In fact, we have another 2 to 3 minutes. If anyone has any questions that you want to take with Kunal right now, it is an open forum. Another 3 4 minutes, he will be available to us to give us answers to queries that you have. But overall, till the time questions pour in, Kunal, with the way what's happening with the base metals as well, if you have to correlate it with the equity markets, what's the sense that you pick up for metal companies?
Yeah, so even the like I said, for the metal, the trend is definitely on the upward trajectory. So I'll explain what happens is when generally this kind of money printing take place. So when value of money goes down. So for example, if you were thinking that 1 crore rupee was enough for me to spend my entire life, and suddenly my central banks print 3 trillion, $4 trillion. That is what US did. So that 1 crore rupees is now no longer enough. Now you require 5 6 crore rupees because your central bank is devaluing your currency. So at this time when the currencies are getting devalued, the hard assets such as metals, oil, the prices of that tends to move up. So the way central banks are printing money, forget about demand supply. Everyone can debate with me that most of the manufacturing activity in India, in other parts of the world are now sluggish. Then why metal prices should go up? Their logic is right, but the other factors, these are macro factors. These are not demand and supply factors. These are factors that the currency devaluation tends to bring the buying in the commodities, and that is what is happening. And that's why metals are going to do well.
Right. A question coming in right now, Kunal, is with regards to your view on aluminium and the trading range that you're looking at.
Aluminum look good to me. I'm expecting aluminum has given yesterday a good breakout after 132, 32.50. It is right now somewhere at 134 to 20. So I'm recommending to go long in aluminum, 136, 136.50, and you keep a stop loss of 32 because that was the level breakout level for aluminum. So looks positive broadly. Go long.
Right. So that's a long call coming in with regards to where aluminium goes. I think that's the only question that we have, Kunal, for today. Thank you, viewers. Thank you, Kunal, for joining in. We will come back to you next week with more updates. Have a happy weekend, everyone.